Alright, guys, today I'm reviewing the Universal Orlando Resort, and for the sake of simplicity, when I talk about either park, I'm talking about both parks unless I say otherwise, so I'm just gonna call it Universal. And no, I didn't do Volcano Bay, but I mean, whatever, it's a water park. So, in this video, I'm gonna go over everything I love about this place, and also a few things that definitely hold it back from being at the top of my park rankings. So let's start off with first impressions because that's what I do all the time. So coming up to this park, it's not the same as Disney, which is really cool in my opinion, like especially when Epic opens cuz I was touring the Rosen campus and yeah, that's right next to the road and the campus there. So it's definitely not the same effect as Disney, even in the other two parks. But I like that. I like seeing all the big coasters and Doctor Doom and everything just in the skyline, getting you hyped for the day. Parking here, I know I can't really say for most people because I get to parks really early, but parking from what I experienced wasn't a big issue at all. Like 2 minutes to actually get through the tolls. The people were nice and everything. Not a lot of idiots asking questions at the tolls. And then you just go right on through to the parking garage. And this is where one of the big complaints happens is walking to the park itself. It is a hike, I'll give them that, but it's really not that bad. If you get there early enough, you should still get to the entrance well before the park opens. And you got those moving walkways to help you out, so it's not really that tiring. And just seeing everything going on and testing in the background, it's really a good way to get hyped for the day. But then you enter the first thing that is really it's really more of a personal preference thing more than anything, but I really don't like City Walk. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a walkway from the parking lot to the entrances of the two parks, and it's supposed to replicate a big city. Which, I mean, if you know me, like personally, I really don't like that at all. I'd way rather take a setting like, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, like somewhere like more nature oriented. So, yeah, I don't really like this area personally, but I'm definitely not the person this is trying to target. So I get that a lot of people would probably really like all the big signs and the shops and everything. So once you get through City Walk, you're either going to go to Islands or Studios. I definitely recommend going to Islands first, especially if you don't have the early access, and if you have the early access, go to Islands, because if you have early access, obviously book it to Hagrid's. Just wait for that an hour before the park opens and get over to Hagrid's. But even if you don't, you still definitely want to go to Islands first to hit up Velocicoaster right away, assuming it's open right away, which it wasn't for me, but that's another thing. But yeah, before we go into operations or food or anything else, let's obviously talk about the ride lineup because that's why you go to an amusement park. So this really has one of the best ride lineups in the world. Definitely the best non-coaster ride lineup I've ever been to. Yeah, there's really no competition. I mean, Knoebels, it's got a lot of classics, but it just can't compete with what Universal has. And for coasters, it has a small collection, but it's got a really good collection for what it is. So Velocicoaster's obviously the standout here. It's my number 6 overall currently, and for this, spots 6 through 2 in my rankings constantly change around, so it could potentially be as high as 2. It's definitely not going over Wildcat's Revenge, but yeah, it's in between 6 and 2. It's truly one of the best coasters in the world. The Mosasaurus roll is literally the greatest thing of all time. Like unless Airy Force Quad Down's better, which it probably will be. Yeah, besides that Mosasaurus roll is probably the greatest thing of all time, let's be real. But yeah. Other great coasters are Hulk, That really shocked me. That definitely showed me that B&M loopers, like even Kumba to an extent was more intense than other B&M loopers, but Hulk really demonstrated some power. I absolutely loved that thing. That's handily a top 20 coaster for me. Just wow, what a phenomenal ride that was. Hagrid's, it could have been better. The fact that Taylor Bybee put it over Conda is kind of just stupid in my opinion, but it's a good family coaster. The kids will love it. It's got great theming. It's got a backwards portion. It's got so much. It's got spoilers and everything, so I'm not going into all that, but yeah, overall Hagrid's it's great, but it's just not that good. It doesn't live up to the insane hype that some people had for it. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket is kind of mid, kind of just on par with a normal B&M looper like Batman the Dark Knight at New England or something. Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, that was another dud in my opinion. I really didn't understand why that ride existed, frankly. I get like some of the tilt tracks or whatever are cool, but yeah, the coaster portions didn't do anything, and the dark ride portions I don't think did anything either. I'm gonna be real. It's just kind of a useless dark ride, kind of on par with Wonder Mountain's Guardian, in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, but it's really not that good. I will say the saving grace for the coaster lineup at Studios, though, is Revenge of the Mummy. That is definitely a top 10 underrated coaster I've been on. It does have some power to it. It's a family coaster, I'll give it that, but it's got some bite to it for sure. The launch is amazing. It's it's really intense. You got a couple airtime pops. The theming's pretty dark in there too. Like, it's not a theme that I feel like most kids would really like, cuz I mean, you've got those mummies popping out at you, jump scaring you. There is an insane amount of fire. I'll say that. There's definitely too much fire in there for someone that is definitely more used to the cold than the heat. We'll just say I wear shorts and t-shirts when it's snowing. So for someone that does that, there was way too much fire in there. But, it's whatever. That's really the biggest downside with that ride, in my opinion. But yeah, the theming overall is really good, and it's an intense ride, packs in some positives, laterals. It's great. Definitely don't sleep on that thing. Then there's obviously Flight of the Wicker Griff and Pterodon Flyers, which, I mean, no one cares about. So let's move on to non-coasters, because, like I said, this is the best non-coaster collection I've experienced. The headliner here, in my opinion, is actually Spider-Man. This thing was fantastic. I mean, wow, this can really go toe-to-toe with, like, some coasters in my top 25. It might be the second best ride in the park, and that's me having Hulk in my top 20. It's right up there with Hulk. It's just so perfect. I might do a separate review on that ride individually, just because, wow, there's so much to it. The movement's fantastic. All the screens and the practical effects. Yeah, it's truly a masterpiece. And so is Transformers, which was a really underrated dark ride in my opinion. A lot of people say the gap between Spider-Man and Transformers is huge. Yeah, Spider-Man was better, but it wasn't that much better. Like, Transformers is also a phenomenal dark ride. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, it was definitely good, but there were some spots where it was kind of just doing nothing, in my opinion. And I get the movement's really cool, but it wasn't quite as intense as some people said. I honestly think the Spider-Man Transformers ride vehicles pack more of a punch than the Kuka arm ride system of Harry Potter, but I get that's an unpopular opinion, and also Spider-Man's just a way better IP than Harry Potter. Yeah, you can debate that somewhere else, but yeah, overall, it's a good ride, but it's not fantastic. And other great dark rides include Simpsons, E.T. I'll say the log flumes here are fantastic. River Adventure, I didn't do it on this trip because every time I walked by it, it was closed, and I wasn't leaving my marathon at Velocicoaster at the end of the night for Jurassic World River Adventure, Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World. It's not that yet. But from what I remember when I was 5, that was a fun ride. But Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw Falls, that is a fantastic log flume. Definitely my favorite log flume. The drop isn't as good as Seabreeze's, obviously, but you know, the theming, the actual thrills and everything, all of it combined, it's definitely the best log flume. There's plenty of others, but you know, it's a huge park. There's so many good rides here. A lot of duds too. I mean, you could definitely miss out on rides like Minions and Fast and Furious or whatever, but you know, it's got a really strong collection. And I'll say the theming here, it sort of lived up to the hype. That's the next thing we're definitely going to talk about is theming. And, you know, to some extent, I think areas like Jurassic Park look fantastic. Pretty much all of Studios looks the exact same, which I'm not too big of a fan of the feel of Studios, but, you know, it's cool. Diagon Alley, I'll say, looks really nice. Same with Wizarding World, like Hogsmeade. Honestly, Marvel Superhero Island's a really cool looking area. Not just because, like, I actually know the characters there. It's because, like, I don't know, something about the comic book feel in there. Same with Toon Lagoon. Like, Toon Lagoon's really underrated in terms of how it feels. I really like the aesthetic of that area. But the big thing that doesn't only take away from the theming, but sort of the park too, and I get it, Universal can't do a whole lot about this, but it's the crowds. I'm telling you, it's getting to be Disney, and that's scary. It's not really getting to be Disney because, you know, they're actually adding stuff and trying to make the park better, but the crowds, man, it's an absolute zoo there. You cannot move through Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley like without not breathing. It's ridiculous. You can't breathe in either of the Harry Potter areas, which, I mean, that really takes away from it. If you have the Hogwarts castle there and everything, that's fantastic. I love to look at that. The scenery's all really nice. But when you cram that many just normal tourists and everything in that small area, that takes away from the immersion. I can't be immersed in that area if there's that many randoms just waltzing around. I don't even know how else to put it. And then how much they commercialize it. I get it. It's Harry Potter. People want to buy all sorts of Harry Potter merchandise, but I'm just saying, from my perspective, someone who doesn't really care about Harry Potter that much, I can't get behind, like, seeing all this butterbeer and the wands and everything just scattered throughout being shoved up my throat. Like, I want to enjoy Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, but, like, I just can't when it's so commercial and there's so many people around. I mean, that's why the Pipeline Plaza is my favorite area in Florida. Just, it's nice and peaceful. It's decorated. It's not over the top like this area. I don't know what to tell you. Jurassic Park, I do really like. It's a bit crowded like the rest of the park, but it's not over the top crowded. Velocicoaster, the plaza for that looks phenomenal. And the rest of the area has like a jungle feel, which I definitely like a lot. Like I said, Toon Lagoon is definitely the most underrated part of the park. I really like that sort of comic book aesthetic. Same with Marvel Superhero Island. Seuss Landing, I mean, it's whatever. It's a kid's area. It's fine. Lost Continent, oh man, I wish Lost Continent was in its prime. That area could be so good. It could be so good, I'm telling you. If they would just put a good coaster or a good anything in there, if they did anything with that area, it would be the best part of the park easily. but they just need to do something with that area, please. I mean, oh, I would have loved to experience the Universal when Lost Continent had like dueling dragons and everything. But yeah, those days are gone. I'll talk about the food real quick because I only had one meal here. It was a 12-hour day, but if you know me, you know I don't want to stop for food at all. So I had these tacos at this one place sorted by Transformers at Studios. And I'll say it was definitely the best meal I had in Florida. It really was good. The chef was great and everything. Um, yeah, they were pretty basic tacos, but they were definitely good. They were some of the best tacos I've had, so I'm definitely happy with that. The operations here are really good. I still think Knoebels has easily the best operations of any park, but this place is up there for sure. You've got pretty much 1 minute ops on rides like Velocicoaster and Hulk and everything, sometimes even less. Hagrid's, they absolutely fly through that thing. I mean, that could be the fastest moving line besides Phoenix and Twister at Knoebels, just because, yeah, they know they have to move through Hagrid's, because yeah, that was the first time I've ever jumped for joy to see a 90-minute wait. Like, I absolutely booked it over there when I saw it drop to 90 minutes. That's how long the line usually is for Hagrid's. So yeah, operations, they're definitely good here. I will say Velocicoaster was closed for like the first 2 hours of my day, which wasn't nearly as bad as the Iron Gwazi disaster at Busch Gardens Tampa, but yeah, at least they were testing on it. We could see there was something up with it. So, and they did their absolute best to get it running right away. So, definitely appreciate them for that. But still, that's the nature of an Intamin, I guess. I will say we did have to get Fast Lane or Express Pass, whatever you call it here. It's Express Pass, but whatever. But yeah, we had to get that just because it was so slammed. It was February break, so I kind of expected it. But yeah, we got Fast Pass here, and we got a good amount in. I think I got 15 rides total, which isn't terrible. It could be better, but, it's a packed day at Universal, and that's, again, part of the atmosphere and everything about the park is, I get Universal can't do anything about it, but it's so crowded. And it's got that Cedar Point Disney problem almost where you just can't get anything done unless you have a Fast Pass, which really sucks, which, I mean, is why Universal only ranks number 6 for me in my park rankings. Hershey Park, Great Adventure, they're definitely well over everything. Cedar Point's better because the ride collection. Dollywood's better just because, again, I way take that small, like, in the mountains type feel over the big IPs that Universal has. And, I mean, Knoebels is just a whole different thing. Like, Knoebels is their own breed. But it's definitely a park you have to get out to. It's fantastic. Just beware that it's not everybody's like favorite atmosphere and everything. So let me know what you guys think of this place down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.